Let's talk about an overview of the Sales of Goods Act 1930. A pretty big deal in India when it comes to buying and selling stuff. This act is super important because it keeps things fair and legal in trading world across the entire country. Alright, let's get right into it. The Sales of Goods Act 1930 kicked into gear on July 1st, 1930, taking over the sales of goods chapters from the Indian Contract Act. This switch was necessary because the contract law just did not cover all the complexities and unique issues that come with selling goods. This act lays out a plain and simple definition of sale as a contract, where the seller agrees to hand over or actually hands over ownership of goods to the buyer for a price. It covers instant sales where ownership changes hands right away, as well as agreement to sell where the ownership is scheduled for a later date. Now, there are a few key things to know about this act. First up, it defined terms like goods, seller, buyer, and price. These definitions are really important for understanding what's what in the legal world of sales. Next, there's a difference between conditions and warranties. Conditions are big time stipulations that have to do with the main purpose of the contract. If a condition gets broken, the buyer can cancel the whole contract. On the other hand, warranties are like secondary stipulations. If a warranty gets broken, the buyer can ask for damages but can't cancel the contract. Then there are rules about how ownership gets transferred from the seller to the buyer. These rules really come into play if there's any loss or damage and it's time to figure out who's responsible. The act also covers how contract should go down. This includes delivering the goods, accepting them, and making the payment. It's also pretty clear about what both the buyer and seller can expect and what the duties are. Finally, the act spells out what happens if one party does not hold up their end of the deal. There are remedies available like claiming damages, rejecting the goods, or taking the matter to the court. Understanding Sales of Goods Act 1930 is super important if you are buying or selling stuff in India. This act not only sets up the legal framework for sales, but also protects both buyer and sellers, making sure everything is fair and transparent. In a nutshell, the Sales of Goods Act 1930 is a really big deal in world of business. It keeps sales running smoothly and provides a safety net for buyers and sellers. It shows how commerce is always changing and why it's important to have laws that keep up with the times.